let's talk
That's,
about that a little, Matt. Can
yeah,
we, and let me introduce Matt Sweeting, the marketing automation expert, a musician, a dad, and an experimental chef.
true. All things considered.
And
Um,
we're here to look at today. So we've got a situation, well, our normal everyday is that everybody's bandwidth and resource constrained. And yet you see people making lemonade out of those lemons. Amazing, doing amazing things with the same problem that we all have. And as a marketing automation expert and someone who gets to look behind the scenes at hundreds of companies, yeah, hundreds of different size firms, both agencies that you're partnered with at SharpSpring and then the end clients, what are you seeing people do? Now we've got coronavirus on top of this existing situation of being bandwidth and resource constrained. What do you see that people are doing or can do to prepare for the rebound?
well, I mean, just some, before we get to the rebound concept, let's just talk about some of the things I've seen within this time, right? Just from a very, and I'll talk internally about what we here at SharpSpring are doing, and then what I've seen our partners too. I think, and I also try to, maintain relationships with other software companies and their bases. And we have somewhat of a peer group, as it were. And I think that there's been some universalities within our sphere. So I think that those are good to address. And the first one is just, there's just been a real big uptick just in digital presence. I mean, think about the idea that we're just working remotely. So that means we're just online even more than we were before, which was a tremendous amount. Our interactions are predicated on these digital connections. So the idea of having a better understanding and more connectivity with the people that you work with is going to make that relationship more productive. So we as a company, I mentioned earlier that we have these company meetings, right? And this is facilitated by a video component feature that we installed in the platform right when this started. We realized, and our leadership and product team realized that early on, this dynamic was going to really demand connectivity digitally, and so we wanted to add that in for all of our partners. So it's something that we utilize and leverage for ourselves. So that kind of connectivity, maintaining that rapport with people, I think it's so important to still be present, not only through digital touches, but just seeing someone. I think that just goes such a long way into maintaining a just feeling more vibrant, understanding kind of where you're going in your relationship. And so one of the things I do here at work is I help run some webinars, and I do a lot of programming for us. And obviously there's been a tremendous uptick in that. But one of the things that we found was when we started our program, we would do a lot of narration. We would have a program, a slide deck. We'd have a lot of collateral for people to look at visually, and we would really just narrate over it. Well, about halfway, a couple programs in, we tried turning on our video. We just thought, oh, let's give it a twirl, see what happens, make it a little more tangible. And the response we got was tremendous. And so I think that reinforces that concept of, if you had previously only called someone, think about video chatting. I mean, again, in a time where you can't physically be present, the idea of still having that more personalized interaction, I think, is much more impactful. We found it here. I think that, again, it's one of the reasons that we put it in our application. I'm sure you've seen just a tremendous spike in video software usage. Platforms like, Zoom, or heck, even Google installed one in Gmail, right, last week. So, I mean, this is something that I think you're going to see across the board, in all, big, small, whatever type of provider. These are things that I think you will want to use, because people, as it becomes more pervasive, people, whether they're peers, whether they're leads, whether they're suppliers, they're going to become more comfortable with that dynamic as well. And so getting comfortable yourself, leveraging it, utilizing, understanding how to feel its impact, I think will make you more successful. And it's something that I've seen, and been able to kind of maintain a little more of my humanity, right? So that's something that I really lacked. I mean, just me personally, I'm not much of a phone person, and so the video conferencing has been just a boon for me. That's something I do quite a bit, and has allowed me to still stay connected to both my clientele and my peers.
Great. So that's one of the positives that you're
Oh, for sure.
seeing come out of
Hmm.
coronavirus, the connection, people being online and having video to
Hmm.
stay connected and have our humanity. It's great.
For sure. And I just, other things, we've seen, just, obviously we took that first internal hit in terms of, expansion and usage, but we've really kind of come back. We are doing just fine now. We have uh, been connecting with new people. We've had to approach it in different ways. There's been obviously, I mentioned a massive uptick in video conferencing. We've also increased the amount of outreach we've been doing in terms of email correspondence. That's obviously always been a primary component of both our marketing, our sales, and our support process, but we've even increased it a little bit more, fleshing out some more, just brand recognition and just assets that we're just sending to people, because we just want to maintain that connectivity. We want it to be a little more proactive. That's something that we have really turned the corner with. Again, instead of waiting for, especially with our partner base, instead of waiting for people to have issues that we can help them resolve, trying to be a little more proactive and encouraging them to, hey, have you tried this? Have you seen this? And we've seen a really nice response from that. And so that's another
Right.
thing that we have learned from this that we probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Being proactive. Got it. Great. Great. And I get how you appreciate the weekly meetings and bringing the company together and knowing what's going on.
Yeah, just and that's like more on a micro level, or a macro level. On a micro level, I myself am part of a team, and initially when we first started working remotely, we only had, we would check in, and we're fairly independent. Inside of our team, we have our own agendas and we have our own KPIs that we are empowered to hit, and things that we're doing. We do work together fairly frequently, but again, we are more like freelancers in a way.
Mhm.
I really started to feel disconnected from them, and so now we have 2 meetings a day, which I really like. We have a meeting right at the get, so right at 9 a.m., and then right at the end, right? So right around 6, we'll kind of reconfigure, and that has really helped me just stay connected to my team, for us to work share and just to be more in lockstep. That's something we had to learn, because again, initially we were just, you know, using pipelines and using other features to kind of monitor each other, but we lost that connectivity. There's such a casualness that we had in terms of our physical proximity in the office. We all sit around each other. And so you could
Mhm.
pass that kind of tribal knowledge by just being next to someone and watching what they're doing or listening. Well, all that stuff's gone. So now we have to be a little bit more obvious with our expressions. And so that's something that's really helped us too. So much of what I would know about what my teammate was doing was, again, kind of what I would glean ancillary, just standing next to them and seeing like, oh, what do you have on your, what are you doing again? Or listening to a call, or,
Mhm.
not stuff, again, I just things that you take for granted. Now that that's not an option, we have to be a lot more focused, a lot more, again, productive, and a lot, again, more proactive. So that's helped me personally on a more focused level. Our team is a lot more, expressive and with what we're doing, and just being a lot more, we're documenting a lot more, which again, when we were all together, we tend again to be a little more tribal, right? Hey, can you just jump on this and fix this, or can we just bang this out? Which again gets things done,
Mhm.
but also might not be sustainable long term. So I think that.
So what is it, Matt? Because I hear you guys have made, and you in particular and your team and the organization have made a lot of proactive changes, or changes that you didn't realize how beneficial they would be. What is it that you attribute the ability to change and flex both in yourself and in the organization? What can
Uh,
you take from that and someone can run with or learn from and instill in themselves?
sure. I mean, well, for me personally, just the confidence that I enjoy what I'm doing. So there's just an innate desire to find a new way to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and this is something I really learned when I was training people individually more often. One of the things that so many new partners, when they come into our ecosystem, they start using our platform, a lot of them have these preset ideas as to what they think is going to work, or what they want to go after first, or what they want to maximize. And all those are great places to start. One of the things I really try to preach is be open to change, be open to auditing. Just a really tangible SharpSpring example. We have a function called lead scoring, right? Which is just a numeric tabulation of connectivity, right? So that's something that I always tell people: the first time you use it, you're going to gravitate towards certain things. You're going to reward people for certain things, and as you should. But what you really need to do is be able to reflect on that. And in a month's time, is this actually working? Is this actually what I want it to be? And so that's an attitude that I've always had in this role and in my dynamic here, is looking at what I'm doing and is it working? And so extrapolating that to this new process and this new environment we're in, I think I was, predisposed to kind of flourish in this. I just never knew it, right? So I think being open to admitting what isn't working, admitting to what you need, because again, when we first started, we weren't having those daily meetings, and I was just feeling really disconnected and kind of wayward, and having that and forcing me to focus and listen and verbalize what I was doing helped me tremendously. Really helped me stay in the moment and be more productive, and it's had
Yeah.
some good long range impacts. I'm hopeful that we still maintain that. Again, I don't know. One of the things that's so interesting is that we're in this nebulous spot where, I mean, I'm sure we will come back to work at some point, but maybe not. I mean,
Yeah.
you read things like, the Twitter office, where they never have to go back to the office
Yeah.
if they don't want to.
Right.
And
That's something.
maybe that's the way we do this now. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I hear you saying in summary that you have a passion for what you do. So that's highly motivating, and you're willing to be flexible and look and play to have it work. You know yourself, you know your strengths and your weaknesses and what you need to be productive.
Hmm.
And you're open to whatever it takes. And then you experiment. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, you ditch it.
Yeah, and just be honest with yourself. I mean, that's kind of the
Yep.
hardest part, because I think that it flows into all of those things. Um,
Right.
Understanding what you need, understanding what you do well, understanding when to reach out for help, understanding when to double down and do it yourself, right? And
Yep.
and again, that this has definitely made us be able to take criticism so much more, because when you only have 10 minutes with someone and that's all you're going to see them in a day, you have to be able to open up, right? You have to be able
Mm-hmm. And be
to,
direct.
yeah. And again,
You got it.
I like to dance around things. I'm very loquacious, which is good and bad, but I just will go on forever. And I've really had to focus more and be just a lot more communicative in a way that people can pick up on what I'm doing. So instead of giving all this the background and endlessly preening about some weird thing that happened to me in my life, I'll just go right at it, right? So
Got it.
it's been helpful for me. But yeah, just being
Nice.
open to yourself, and again, you know, being open to auditing those things is what's been helpful for me.
Got it. Yeah, got it. Great. Okay, so let me re-summarize that again, because that was a really great list. So passion, and that motivates you to audit, to try, to experiment, to stop doing what isn't working, to try something else. And then you brought focus and been more concise, like you know yourself, and you've managed yourself to the situation willingly because of that passion and enjoyment of what you're doing, and auditing and experimenting and really being open. Awesome.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
Matt, in this situation, dealing with coronavirus, both in your company, which has gone completely remote and you weren't remote before, and all of your agency clients having similar situations, and then being in different industries and the impacts on their clients, their end clients, what has surprised you?
Ooh, great question. I mean, just that people can still be successful even in this time of uncertainty. Again, I
Why is
have,
that? What are you seeing that has some people or has folks be successful in this
well,
environment?
I mean, because certain agencies can tap into what their clients needs. I mean, a platform like SharpSpring, uh, used properly, can allow you to understand what's moving the needle. And in this time where you have maybe, you have more eyeballs on you than ever before, but you have a smaller percentage of people that are willing to take risks, you have to maximize your strategy. You have to be able to communicate where your value is and do it in a way that's consistent, right? So it's kind of a good and bad thing. You have more potential because, again, there's more people online. We're seeing more traffic, more leads being generated, but they're not necessarily the highest quality because, again, everybody's a little more apprehensive about what they want to sink into, what direction that they're comfortable moving in. And so I've seen, agencies that have a great handle on that, understanding how to show you what's working and what's not, and just being more tangible with it. I've seen them just be really successful. And I think that's something that surprised me, because I thought everybody was just going to take a hit for all of this, and then hopefully we could all rebound